For coming today. They saved the last presentation for the best one for the last, I should say. So thanks to David and everyone here. Today, I want to talk to you about the fastest way to become a consistent trader. I know a lot of you may be struggling. I know when I first started trading some 48 years ago, I struggled tremendously my first year or so. And it's very depressing and difficult to go through it every day because you spend a lot of hard work and energy and time, and most especially money, trying to become a consistent trader. And sure, every once in a while you'll have some really nice trades, but most of the time you give it right back on a bad trade, right? It's very discouraging. Well, today I want to share with you a method that actually can help you to become a consistent trader. And you're going to actually learn the first two rules for trading this particular strategy. In fact, you can start applying it as early as tomorrow if you'd like. So today we're going to be talking about the fastest way to become a consistent trader. Now, I want you to take a quick look at this chart in Lulu. Okay, this was just about a month ago. Let's say you were watching this stock and it was on your watch list, but nothing was happening yet. Your strategy hadn't given you a confirmation, so you hadn't jumped in yet. And you're saying, well, I'll wait till it does something for me to get involved. And then for some reason you walk away or you're busy doing something else, and then this happens, right? Look familiar? You miss it entirely, right? Well, with the rules I'm going to be sharing with you today, you actually would not have missed this at all. In fact, you would have entered right here and potentially been able to capture upwards of 82 points in the next 4 days. So this is the subject we're going to be talking about, a great strategy that you'll learn the entry rules to, and the fastest way, I believe, to become a consistent trader. And it's not going to be complicated. In fact, it's extremely simple. We made it that way because everything you're seeing today is one click away on our platform. This is the platform I developed with Pro Trader Strategies, the PTS Primo charts. It's an educational platform that actually teaches you how to trade. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 48 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for a total of 16 years, and 9 of them, I was a specialist. A specialist is, if you're not familiar with what a specialist is, it's not someone who's more special than anyone else. It simply means that you were the person who specialized in making a market in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you wanted to buy a particular issue, you would call your stockbroker. He in turn would contact the floor broker for that firm, and the floor broker would walk up to the trader who specialized in making a market. Let's say you wanted to buy IBM. Well, the specialist would sell you 100 shares of IBM, or if you wanted to sell 100 shares of IBM, he would buy it from you. So this is what I did. I made markets in roughly about 60 stocks, like IBM, Waste Management, US Air. I made markets during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. After that, I left the floor to manage money and to trade my own account. And about 15 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders. We're a little bit different from other companies and webinars you may have attended, in that our only goal is simply to educate you. You know, you're never going to hear me tell you what I think about the market, is going up, down, what I think the best stock is to buy. You see, in my opinion, those are actually crutches. They stop you from progressing, from elevating your own trading, from finding your own trading destiny. What a good mentor does is he provides you with the tools, the tips, and the trading strategies so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions. Now, as I said, I've been trading now for almost 5 decades, and the only traders I know that are still trading, that are still very consistent, are the ones that make their own trading decisions. So that's our goal at Specialist Trading. Not to force feed you signals and to tell you what to buy or sell, but to teach you how to trade. And you'll see that in today's educational presentation. Now, before I begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results by applying the rules to this strategy, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the rules I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, I know a lot of students ask us, well, Steve, how can I get more education on a daily basis? Well, the best way is to follow us on Twitter. You can go there and either call it Twitter or X, however you like. We also have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. Lots of ways to get free education on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on X or Twitter. There's our handle right there, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation, and I want to talk to you about what we call strategy 3A. Now, let me share with you some of the highlights of this particular method. It's a continuation strategy. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that we're not looking for bottoms to buy or tops to sell. What we're looking for is for a trend to already be established, and then we just simply jump on board. Now, the way we do this is by applying a unique Bollinger Band setting. I'm going to share that with you today. Usually this is reserved for our members who have purchased Strategy 3A, but guess what? You're going to get the unique Bollinger Band settings today. Now, it's designed to trade quick, powerful trends. This is why it's such a consistent method. Now, when we originally started marketing this strategy, roughly about 10 years ago or so, it was mainly for the E-mini markets. In fact, we used to call it E-mini strategy 3A. In fact, you may see that in the graphic in a little while from now. But guess what? Our students who purchased it said, Steve, this works just as well in stocks, in currency pairs, in futures, and as well as commodities. So you can virtually apply strategy 3A to any market, in any time frame, in any direction. You don't have to change the rules because you're trading a different market. Now, with all of our strategies, we always ask our students to learn the strategy first, like the back of your hand. And the way to do this is through paper trading. So you're going to get the initial entry rules to this method today, but please do not just jump in. I know a lot of you will say, gosh, this is amazing. I'm going to start trading this tomorrow morning. Well, I can almost guarantee you that you'll lose money because you didn't really understand the process first. Most students jump in too quickly, and then they tell me that this doesn't work, and then I ask to review their work, and they're almost always applying the rules incorrectly. So please, paper trade until you fully understand the process. Our edge at Specialist Trading with not only this strategy, but with all of our strategies is consistency. Remember, that's what this title is, how to become the most consistent trader the fastest way. Well, guess what, though? Consistency doesn't always mean that every trade is a winner. Consistency is an awareness that you will have some losses from time to time. That's okay. But a consistent method can recoup those losses, often on the very next setup. So what you want as a consistent trader is a two-step forward, one-step back approach, okay? I know a lot of you want to hit these home runs and make thousands, if not millions of dollars in the next year. Well, most methods that are built that way can easily give it back as well. So that's not consistency. A consistency in your trading is a very nice upward slope in your profit and loss statement, okay? And that's what all of our methods have. All right, so let's talk about Bollinger Bands. Now, I know a lot of you, probably most of you, have either used them or are currently using them in your trading. But for those of you who aren't familiar, let's just give you a standard brief background about the Bollinger Band settings. They're comprised of three bands or lines. The middle band or line is just a 20-period simple moving average. That's all it is. But the upper band and the lower band are separated by a certain deviation. Now, without going into detail of the inner workings of this, it just really means the distance they are from above the 20-period moving average and below. And that standard setting is +2 for the upper band and -2 for the lower band. So when you apply this on whatever platform you have, because Bollinger Bands are just about on every platform, it will look something like this. These are the standard settings, looking at this generic chart here. Well, we're going to change things around because they're going to help us with our entry. And here's the way this works. Here are the proprietary settings. And then once again, don't worry if you don't copy these down right away, if you don't fully understand it. I believe this is being recorded. Most of you will be getting a link to this recording. You can watch it at your own leisure as often as you like. But here are the proprietary settings. We're going to keep the middle band the same, which is the moving average. We're going to keep it at a 20-period simple moving average. All we're going to do is change the upper and lower band setting. Now, the upper band, which was usually set at 2, is going down to fractions, down to plus 0.382. And the lower band is going down to negative 0.382, okay? So what happens when you apply this setting? Well, remember, this is the standard setting. Now, looking at the same chart, we're going to have the proprietary setting, which is right here. You see the difference? You see how smooth the lines are now? But remember, the middle line, which is red in this case, is just a 20-period simple moving average. Here are the upper band and the lower band. Now, I know a lot of you would say, well, Steve, can I apply this with like Keltner channels or with moving average envelopes? Trust me, I've always, told my students that I've experimented with just about every setting and every different indicator you can think of. And feel free to go ahead, but I can tell you from firsthand experience that the setting I'm giving you on the Bollinger Bands, they, in my opinion, generate the best setup. So feel free to experiment with other tools, with other indicators, but this, for my money, is the best setup out of all of them, just using the standard Bollinger Band setting. Okay, so now that you know the Bollinger Band setting, let's look at the entry rules, okay? And remember, you can write these down or watch it later on in the video, but these are the rules for entering for going long. If we're going short, we're just simply going to reverse them, and you'll see a lot of examples later on, okay? Okay, step one. Obviously, we want to plot the proprietary Bollinger Band setting on your chart. Now, I know this seems kind of redundant. We'll say, sure, well, how can I trade without having it on my chart? But the reason why we call this step one is because it makes no difference what you're trading. It could be a 5-minute chart of the E-mini futures. It could be a monthly chart of Costco. It could be a daily chart of Dogecoin, crypto, or it could be a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar. It makes absolutely no difference, but you must plot the proprietary Bollinger Band setting on your chart first. So we look at this older chart of Tesla, and most students would say, well, Steve, this has been going really up very strongly, but I go to that chat room and the guy says we're overbought. So I don't really need to plot anything here. I know that we should probably be selling this. Well, not really, because if we apply the Bollinger Band setting, it's really simple. On our platform, all you have to do is click on Strategy 3A in our green strategy tab with all of our methods and strategies. In the drop-down menu, you'll see indicator. So the proprietary settings are already pre-formatted. There's nothing you need to do or edit, and it's right there. It's already right there for you. So we see that, well, we are above the proprietary setting of the Bollinger Band. This brings us now to step number 2. We want to identify 5 consecutive price bars that close either on or above the highest Bollinger Band. Okay, so let's go back to the chart. We want to see 5 bands, or 5 bars, I should say, that close either on or above. Now, these bars obviously don't, they're below. But what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars that closed above. Now, it doesn't make any difference if they're touching, as long as they close above. As you see, this first bar is intersecting the Bollinger Band setting. That's okay. All we need to do is trade above, okay, and close above. This leads us now to step number 3. We are going to enter the buy when price trades 1 tick above bar number 5. And you notice I didn't say when price closes above bar number 5. And we underline trades for a purpose, because all it has to do is trade there. It could trade there once it trades 1 tick above bar number 5 and then close lower. That's okay. So as we see here, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bar number 5. Here's 1 tick above. And we're going to enter the buy when it trades 1 tick above. So let's see what happened. Well, the very next bar, it didn't. Now, a lot of our students say, well, Steve, I like to only wait for 1 bar, and if it doesn't happen on the next bar, I'm getting out. That's fine. Remember, you're in charge. Our job as a mentor is to share with you high probability setups. It's your job to make the decision whether you want to trade it or not. Whereas other students would say, no, Steve, I'm going to wait till it does trade there. And it did on the very next bar. So this is where you would have entered, okay? And look what happened. 115 points in a little over a week. Not a bad little trade, right? So we shared with you the entry rules. I can't tell you right now where to place your stop, where to exit, because it wouldn't be fair to our hundreds, if not thousands, of students who in the past decade have purchased Strategy 3A. If I gave away everything for free, I know a lot of you are saying, well, where do I get out? Where do I place my stop? But this is all in the course. Don't worry, we teach you all these different things in the course on how to trade it. All right, so you have the standard process of what you need to do to trade Strategy 3A. Let's look at some more recent Strategy 3A examples so you can get a better idea of just how to trade it. All right, here's an example in TMUS, T-Mobile. So we have the chart, a blank chart. The stock's been going up, right? It's looking pretty well, but now we want to see what it is in relation to the proprietary setting. So on our platform, once again, we made everything simple, so you don't have to figure everything out the way I did years ago and plot it and change everything and edit all the bands. just simply go to the Strategy 3A tab right up here, click it on, and you'll see the drop-down menu. Click on Indicator. And all right, so now we have the price, and we see where we stand, where price is in relation to the Bollinger Band setting. Now, if we look here, we see, well, we have a couple inside the Bollinger Bands, but what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes above. Remember, it's okay if it touches the Bollinger Band. We just need it to close above. So this is step number 1. Now, this means we can go long if we trade 1 tick above bar number 5. So let's wait and see what happened. Well, the very next trade, the very next bar, it traded there. So we're long. We entered right here. This was back in October. And coming into last month, we could have potentially captured 42 points. Now remember, once again, our job as a mentor is to provide you with this consistency in trading. Some of our traders would have liked to stay in this for maybe only 5 or 10 points and got out. Still others stayed in as long as possible. It's entirely up to you. No two traders should ever trade alike. You have to trade according to your means because everyone has different risk parameters. Everyone has a different account size. So you can't possibly think that everyone's got to enter and exit and place your stop at the same place. But the good news is that we teach you all these different variables in the course. So you can take your pick as to where you want to exit, where you want to place your stop, how you want to manage the trade. So some students may have taken this same signal, made 1 or 2 points. Still others may have made 10 or 20, and others may have made 40 or 42 points. It's entirely up to you. All right, let's look at this example in CTAS, Cintas Corporation. All right, the stock was kind of going nowhere, basically sideways, and then all of a sudden one day it fell out of bed. Okay, looks very negative. And you say to yourself, wow, this is a bad stock. Maybe I don't want to buy this at all. But then all of a sudden it firms up. In fact, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 days that close up. You're saying to yourself, wow, this looks actually like it may be firming up. And then you go to that chat room and they tell you that there's major institutional support. This is where all the banks are buying. This is where all the big money is. So you say to yourself, wow, well, I think we may have just bottomed out. So I'm going to be a buyer. This is why most traders fail and lose money in the markets, because you're basing it off of inconsistent methods and off what someone or something else is telling you what to do. Why not make your decision off what the market is telling you what to do? And one of the best ways is by applying the proprietary Bollinger Band setting. Click on Strategy 3A. In the drop-down menu, click on Indicator. And in this case, well, sure, we may have some type of support here, but what is it telling us? We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below the lowest Bollinger Band. So this is the opposite of a buying setup. So this is telling us that, well, sure, we may hold here, but at the same time, we're setting up for a sell signal according to Strategy 3A. So I would be more inclined to listen to what Strategy 3A is telling me, because when I was on the floor, I used to trade with the institutions. And for my personal opinion, they had the worst track record of any brokerage firm I ever dealt with. They would have huge orders and they would place them in my book for 1 million shares, millions of dollars to buy here or sell here. And guess what? They were almost always wrong. So I would never listen to what the institutions are doing. That to me is a red flag right there. I'd rather listen to what the market's telling me. And right now it's telling me that even though it hasn't happened yet, it's setting up for a sell, but it has to trade 1 tick below bar number 5. Now, if it starts to go up and never trades there, well, then I guess they were right, but at least I didn't lose anything. So let's see what happened. Well, the very next bar, it did not trade there. Once again, some students may say, well, Steve, I'm out. I'd like for it to happen right away. It never happened, so I think maybe this is going up. Where other students may say, no, I'll give it a little bit more time to grow and to breathe a little bit. And guess what? The very next bar, it did trade 1 tick below. So that would have been your entry point. You could have gone short or sold short the stock, whatever you want. Remember, you're in charge. Our goal is to provide you with this so that you can be in charge. Either way, you should be short right now, because look what happened. The stock fell 27 points in the next 2 days. What happened to the major institutional support, right? This is why I would much rather listen to the market I'm trading than to an outside source like someone in a chat room or some guy on TV or some institutional bank saying they're buyers or something. Let's look at Lulu. This is a chart I shared with you in the opening, okay? Why did we buy it? Well, because we applied the Bollinger Band setting. Now we have bars below, we have bars intersecting, but they're not above yet, closing above. Or starting right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes on or above. Now I know someone would say, but Steve, this didn't close above. Remember, the rule says they just need to either close on or above the highest Bollinger Band. And so these two are closing right on the highest Bollinger Band. So this is a valid buy setup in Lulu. This was just last month, about a month ago. Okay, so we're not going to buy at the market. We wait for it to trade one tick above. On the very next day, it traded there. And in fact, it closed above. So we're long Lulu. Now, we know this is expensive stock, so you could have purchased calls or maybe some type of spread strategy with a buyer's bias. But either way, great decision to go long because the stock rose 82 points in the following 4 days. Now, remember, none of this was based on any fundamental news, on any earnings, on anything someone said on TV. It was based on what the market was telling you. That's the beauty of being consistent. And this is the fastest way I know to become a consistent trader. Okay, let's look at ROP, Roper Technologies. This was just about a month ago, less than a month ago. Price is originally above the highest Bollinger Band, but all of a sudden we intersect, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below, setting up for a sell to go short, but we have to trade one tick below. Now, we know a lot of traders don't like to always go short. They don't feel comfortable. That's okay. Remember, once again, we're just providing you with the information. If you don't feel comfortable taking a trade, don't take it. This is not a systematic type of class where you have to take every signal in order to be in sync with what the strategy or system is telling you. No, if you don't want to take it, don't take it. In fact, a number of our students don't even use this to go short. What they do is they use it as an exiting tool. So say, for example, you had ROP in your long-term portfolio and you saw a strategy 3A sell signal, you could use this to exit your position. Either way, you would have exited or sold short right here on the very next bar. And if you just exited your long position, you could have saved yourself 50 points coming into a couple of weeks ago, okay? See how simple this is when you learn how to use methods that are extremely consistent. Let's look at an example now in an entirely different market, entirely different time frame. There's a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar for all you Forex traders out there, okay? Looking back in hindsight, how could we have taken advantage of this really nice upward move in the last week here? This happened just about a month ago. Well, first thing we do is apply the Bollinger Band setting. And we can see here that at this point, we crossed over and we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive closes above. So this is where we're going to buy. And it would have taken us a couple of days until we finally got there, but our entry would have been right here, and we could have potentially captured 200 pips. That's $2,000 per unit that you potentially could have captured. Okay, that was a 4-hour chart. Let's look at a daily chart of the Australian dollar. Once again, looking back in hindsight, how could we have taken advantage of this? Maybe selling to exit our position or to go short the Australian dollar. Well, all you have to do is once again apply the Bollinger Bands. Now we see we had consecutive closes below, but all of a sudden we closed above that lowest Bollinger Band. So all bets are off. We have to start a new count. So it began on the very next bar. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. We would have entered a couple of days later. This was just about a month ago, and you could have potentially captured 230 pips, or roughly $2,300 on one unit, potentially could have captured if you had sold. So this is how simple this process is. Let's look at a longer term chart in Regeneron. This is REGN, a weekly chart. Now, just because we go up in the time frame, because we look at a higher time frame, doesn't mean we change the rules. Remember, strategy 3A can be applied to any market, any time frame. When we first started trading this, it was solely for the E-mini markets because that's where you had more volatility, and therefore there were a lot more setups. But with increased volatility in the markets in the last decade, we've seen that this works just as well in any market. A daily, a 5-minute, or even a weekly chart, as we see here. The same rules apply. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. Here's our point of entry right here, one tick below this weekly bar, because these are weekly bars. And on the very next bar, you could have entered or exited your position if you were a swing trader and saved yourself 255 points to the downside, coming in to just about a couple of weeks ago. Okay, let's go up one more time frame. Let's go up to a monthly time frame for all of you investors there. So it doesn't matter if you're an intraday trader or an investor, you can still apply this the exact same way. These are monthly bars of Costco. Okay, this is going back nearly 2 years ago. Now, obviously, we can see that Costco's been going up. Okay, this was in 2023. But let's say that guy on TV says, well, it's gone up a little bit too quickly. I don't like the inner workings of the company or the earnings projection. So it may be a little overbought. Maybe you should exit your position, or if you're thinking about getting long, wait for it to pull back a little bit. Okay. This is why most traders are inconsistent and why most traders fail. You're relying on someone or something else to tell you what to do. Once you learn rules and a rule-based method that's very consistent, you don't have to rely on an outside source. You can be in charge and take charge of your trading for the very first time. So is it overbought? Well, we don't know, but all we have to do is click on strategy 3A, click on indicator, and we see here that we have a setup to go long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes above. Now, is this guaranteed that it's going to go higher? No. We still need it to trade one tick above bar number 5. Remember, all of these bars are monthly bars, but the same process applies to whatever time frame, whatever market you're talking about. And as we can see, you would have entered on the next month, which was November of 2023. And coming in to this year, you could have potentially captured 400 points. So you've seen this in forward charts of the Canadian dollar, or monthly charts of Costco, or daily charts of the Australian dollar. It makes no difference what time frame or what market. This is how consistent this method can be. So let's recap and go over what we taught you today. Strategy 3A highlights, it's a continuation strategy. As you've seen, we're looking for a trend to be established either to the upside or to the downside. And then using our unique Bollinger Band setting and our unique countdown, that will tell us when and if we should be getting in. Now, it's designed to trade these quick, powerful trends. Once again, as I've stated numerous times, when we first started teaching this strategy, it was simply for the E-mini markets because the E-mini markets were the most volatile and you got the best setups. But with the increased volatility in all the markets now, regardless of crypto, regardless of commodities, regardless of currency pairs, it works just as well on all of those markets. So there's no need to change the rules or change settings if you're going to be trading with multiple markets. But please learn the strategy first. So paper trade what I taught you today. I know a lot of you will say, oh, I have it figured out. I know when to get in, when to get out. Most likely you don't. So please watch this video, paper trade, practice until you feel comfortable with it. There will be a lot of setups going forward, so don't feel as if you missed anything. Our edge here is consistency, all right? Consistency is a 2-step forward, 1-step back process. That's what will make you a consistent trader, a method that is very consistent because you'll have this longevity going through the years, where you won't just have a couple of good months or maybe a couple of good years, but a couple of good decades to lead you forward. So, as we conclude, I want you to ask yourself and ask yourself honestly, do you think this strategy can help your trading going into 2025? Well, I think most of you would say yes. So guess what? We have a very special offer for all of you attending today's educational class. We're going to offer you our Strategy 3A course. This is the fastest way to becoming a consistent trader. And as you can see here, it says E-mini Strategy 3A, but remember, it makes no difference. You can apply it to any market, any time frame, any direction. It's our premier continuation method. It applies these unique Bollinger Band settings, and guess what? You already know what they are, okay? So you have that right off the bat. It's a proprietary entry technique, which you also know as well. But you'll get the complete Strategy 3A rules in the course. This includes all of our entries, the different ways to enter. I just shared with you the most basic way, but you'll know all the different ways you can exit and all the different ways to place your stop, okay? This is a great opportunity to turn your trading around at the beginning of the year to start off 2025 in the right direction. But we're not going to stop there because everything you saw today, all of the examples, all the different charts were displayed on the PTS Primo charting platform. And you saw how simple it was to view and display that proprietary setting of the Bollinger Bands. Everything was one click away on our platform. There's no need for you to open up the edit box, change everything, make sure it's okay. Okay, once you stop looking at the chart, every time you want to open it again, you have to rearrange the settings. It's one click away. We made it simple for you so that you could focus on your trading. This is the educational platform I developed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually teaches you how to trade. So here's what we want to do. We want to also give you, with your purchase of the Strategy 3A course, an extra bonus. We're going to throw in a full 6 months free of the platform. So you won't have to worry about configuring the proprietary Bollinger Band setting. You won't have to worry about where your entries are or anything. It'll all be right there, one-click access. And you're going to get a host of other things that you won't find on any other platform, free for 6 months. So let's go over just a few. This is a tip of the iceberg of what you'll get. Okay, obviously you'll get the one-click indicator access. You'll also get Strategy 3A signal scanner. You'll be able to scan for these setups on a nightly basis. Imagine this. You come home from work, or maybe you've just been trading something else, and you look, you scan. It takes about maybe 30 seconds to scan the S&P 500, and you'll see what all the setups are for the next day. And you can go through and browse and do your research and see if you want to take advantage of one of those setups, okay? And as we said earlier, you'll also learn all the entry levels and stop placements. They'll be displayed on the actual chart. You'll also get auto-generated exit levels. One of our exiting techniques will be displayed automatically on the chart. You'll also get a strength of trend tool. Now, this is a tool I developed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually has a unique ability to tell you if a trend is running out of steam or if it still has some more gas left in the tank. It's a great, great tool to apply to any method you're trading. You could use it with any strategy, any technique, but with one click, you'll see if there's more room left for a trend to keep going. Here's one of the best things, though, our enhanced buy-sell line. These are 4 different ways to find out what the overall trend is of any market and of any time frame. You can use this with Strategy 3A you like, or you can use it on its own just to find out, if you're doing research on different markets, what the overall trend is. You can use it with your own current strategy, and it will elevate your odds for being consistent. It's a great, great tool that you'll only find on the PTS Primo charting platform. Let me share with you exactly what it looks like. This is our enhanced buy-sell line. Let's look at this chart in EAT, okay? Now, obviously, in hindsight, this has been going straight up for the past, I say, 6 months or so, right? Most traders look at this and say, gosh, how would I have known this was going to be in a real strong uptrend? Well, there's no way to guarantee that, but let me share with you what our buy-sell line could have told you 6 months ago. It's as simple as, once again, on our platform, coming up to the buy-sell line tab right here, clicking it on, and you'll see the different ways in which to find out what the overall trend is. Let's pick the fluid option. Once you do that, here's what it looks like, okay? Now, when price is in the blue buy zone, that's just telling you that you will have a higher level of consistency, whatever strategy or technique you're using, if it was on the buy side. Because as you can see, now you know what side of the fence you should be on. You should only be looking at this from a buyer's perspective. And when price is in the red sell zone, you should only be looking, whatever you're trading, from a seller's perspective. Now, the way to determine if it's a valid chart in whatever zone it's in is to see how many consecutive bars close in that zone. As you can see, going back 6 months, we had consecutive closes from below to above. This was your warning right here by the fluid buy-sell line to tell you that this was going to take off to the upside. And this is when price was roughly selling at around $70, and it's already up to roughly $180 in the next 4 or 5 months. Let's look at another example. This one is in limited, okay? This was coming into this past week. Now, limited last year was really having a nice upward move, and then all of a sudden it broke down, fell out of bed, and has been going straight down ever since. Now, what if you were long this in your portfolio? Most traders fail because they hold on to a position for too long, right? I mean, we've all been there, right? We say, well, it's got to turn around. And then all of a sudden you turn into a long-term investor. You hope and pray for it so you can just break even, right? Here's how the buy-sell line can help you. Let's look at another feature. We simply click on buy-sell line in the drop-down menu. Here's another category, the background feature. Now, what this does is it paints the background either blue or red. When price is in the blue buyer's bias, once again, this is telling you that you should only be looking for buy signals. It doesn't matter if it's one of my strategies or one of yours, or it could be based on the full moon. It doesn't matter. But if price is in the blue buyer's bias zone, then you should only be looking to buy. If someone gives you a sell signal, you shouldn't take it. The odds are it's not going to work out. Conversely, if the background is red, well, then you should only be looking at the stock or whatever market you're trading with a seller's bias. So the way you find out, once again, is for consecutive bars to close, in a specific area. As we see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars closing here. That's more than enough to tell us that this most likely is going much lower. And as you can see, you could have exited your position, or at least now turned into a short seller of limited all the way down. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, Steve, I'm an intraday trader. Can this work on intraday trading? Well, let's look at a recent chart of the spiders. Here's a 10-minute chart of the spiders from last week. This is last week, all right? Now, the market was kind of holding steady on a 10-minute time frame, and then look what happened. The next day, it gapped down tremendously. Now, most traders would say, well, Steve, there's no way to find that out in advance. It was the market gapped down based on some news or something that happened, and there's no way anyone would have known. Well, not really, because once again, let's show you the power of the buy-sell line. Click it on our platform, and you would have seen that, once again, here's the fluid buy-sell line, and we were above on a 10-minute time frame in the blue buy zone, so you would have only been a buyer, but right here, we had consecutive closes in the red sell zone. This was more than enough to tell you it's time to either get out or to start looking at this as a shorting opportunity. So you see how the buy-sell line could have helped you and protected you not only on daily time frame, but also on intraday time frame as well. Guess what? This feature is also included with your purchase and with your 6 months free of the PTS Primo charting platform. All right, so let's break it down. The fastest way to become a consistent trader is with the Strategy 3A course. You're going to get all this, but normally, Strategy 3A course plus the 6 months of the platform is close to $1,300, $1,277 to be exact. Don't worry, we're not going to charge you that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to discount it down nearly $1,000 down to $297. Less than $300, you can be up and running with Strategy 3A with all the entry rules, complete entry, exit, and stop placement, apply to any market, any time frame. You know everything is one click away, along with 6 months of the platform, which includes scanning capability, as well as the buy-sell line, along with a host of other tools I just don't have time to go into that you won't find on any other platform, okay? You're going to save $980. But guess what? It's for 24 hours only, for 1 day. That's how valuable this discount is. So $297. This is a great, great way to become acquainted with us. It's not an expensive price. I know most of you can probably afford $297, but remember, it's only for the next 24 hours. So you have 1 day to think about it, and then this goes back up to roughly close to $1,300. Take charge of your trading. Start 2025 off in the right direction. Become a student of mine in the Strategy 3A course. Here's how to take advantage of this great, great offer. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're my sister site. They're in charge of all the discounts and all the signing up, as well as the tech support with the platform, as well as the discounts. And also they can answer any question concerning the platform as well. Now, I would highly recommend giving them a call, even if you're just interested about the platform or more information. They're there to work with you. Give them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to answer any question, or if you wanted to take your order over the phone. Now, don't feel intimidated. They're not going to push you into making a sale. They're there to work with you. They're very flexible, but just remember that this offer is only good for the next 24 hours. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page, or you can sign up online if you'd like. It's not a live link, but I'm not sure if you go to your chat box. I'm sure David is eventually going to post that. I'm not sure. Let me just open that up. I can see here. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I just posted.
Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. I didn't know if you had. I hadn't opened up the box yet. So you can click that on, and that's the link that will take you to the info page, and you can sign up there as well. Okay. So This is a great offer. I'm going to leave all this information up here. You can copy it down and copy down the number or click on the link and study at your own leisure. And I have a few minutes to take some questions. So let me go through the, I guess they're in the chat box. Let me see here. Will this work with the Thinkorswim platform? Also, do you use only the daily data or evening session as well? I believe the Thinkorswim, yes, I believe it can, but that's a better question for Pro Trader Strategies since they are in charge of the tech support. But I don't think we'll have any problem with that using Thinkorswim in some capacity, okay? With using in terms of the evening session, it's up to you. Once again, you're in charge. There's no restrictions on whether you can use the evening session or not. I personally would not use the evening session, just from my own opinion, because as we know, the volatility often dries up. Now, the best evening session, I would say, would be in the morning or the pre-market session, because oftentimes there's news events or there's something happen around the world where there's more volatility. See, what you want is that volatility to tell you that there's 5 bars closing above or closing below the Bollinger Band setting. But if you don't have that and you kind of have this kind of sideways market that you have so often in the evening sessions, it will really give you a lot of false setup. So I would personally not use it then. The only time I would use it would be maybe I'm on the West Coast, so let's say like 4 a.m. Time on. That's roughly about a couple of hours before the actual market open, okay? Do you have a scanner or way to find the setups, or is just scanning charts for this setup? No, we have a scanner that comes with the 6 months of the platform. That's one of the best things. Now, if you've attended any of my presentations in the past, I have a pet peeve with scanners. Okay, I have traded and used just about every platform there's imaginable, and scanners, in my opinion, are often too cumbersome. They're too complicated, and they just take too long to plug in the data and get what you want. Everything here that I just shared with you is already pre-formatted. All you have to do is click on a couple of settings, and you can find the setups for the next day in less than 60 seconds most of the time. I mean, that's how easy it is. We wanted to make it as simple as possible, because even though we have some hedge fund students of ours and some traders that have been trading for decades, we also have people that have never traded before, or maybe even only traded for a couple of weeks, and we wanted to keep it simple for them. So yes, this does come with the scanner. You can scan for that, and guess what? You also have scanning ability with the buy-sell line. You can go through the S&P 500 and find out which stocks are in the blue buy zone and which ones are in the red sell zone. So it's a great way to trade or just become consistent using these tools, okay? Let me see if there are any other questions. I think I may have taken that one. People have often asked me this question, and I'm just going to answer it before I get it as a question, because it often comes in my presentations. They say, Steve, I haven't been trading long enough. What if I don't understand how to apply this, or I just don't understand it, or it's not making sense to me? Everyone who is a student of mine, regardless of what course, will get my private email address. So this is something that you can use to email me whenever you'd like. If you're in a different country, if you're on the East Coast, if you want to email me over the weekend, it makes no difference. During the market hours, prior to the market opening, after the market close, I will answer your questions as soon as possible. And they don't go to an intern, they don't go to an assistant, they don't go to a salesperson, they come directly to me. So everyone will get my private email address. So if you have a question, or even if you just want me to check your work, I'll be able to do that for you, okay? So that's a great way to learn. I wish I could personally be sitting right next to you and go over everything with you, but this is the next best thing to having me sit right there next to you and go over and be with you every step of the way, okay? If there are no further questions, I guess this brings us to the end of the presentation. Remember, this is a great offer. I really would love to see you come on board for this really inexpensive price, because by next week, it'll be back up to close to $1,300. Remember, that's nearly $1,000 discount. Take advantage of it as soon as you can, okay? Contact Pro Trader Strategies. You can give them a call right now. There's absolutely no obligation. They'd love to either answer your questions, give you a little bit more information to help you make your decision, or take your order over the phone if you're already convinced that you want to sign up for this, okay? Give them a call at 310-598-6677, or click on the link you see below. It's already in the chat box, and they'd be more than happy to answer questions over that as well, okay? If there are no other questions, I give it back to David here and just want to say thanks for everyone for attending. I hope you learned something today, and I look forward to all of you and seeing you in the Strategy 3A course.